Okay, we can start. So, hello to everyone. I'm Marco Mazzaglia, business developer, video game evangelist, system architect in Synesthesia and in another company called Mixed Bag. Previously, I worked in two Italian studios. The one is the biggest in Italy, called Milestone, and the other one is a smallest one called Ovosonico in Varese, working on different games. With Milestone, racing games, with Mixed Bag, some stylish shooter retro game, low poly. This game is called Futuridium, and with Synesthesia working on the mobile version of Hat-Trick, that is a web football manager. Anybody played Hat-Trick in some? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So maybe it was the first real football manager that you can play via web, starting from 1997. And my latest song is Forma 8, and we talk later about Forma 8 because maybe it's one of the a solid example for this talk. I'm a president of the Union, that is an association that wants to promote the game industry in Italy as work opportunity and telling that video games can be used for training and marketing and something like that. The association, the target of association is professional students. So people that are in theory in Italy can subscribe and can be members in order to make game jams, training meetings, monthly training meetings, and so on. The other side of the union is the companies around the union, like Synesthesia and other companies. In fact, Free for Big Things was a video game studio that won the Italian Best Game Award called the Golden Dragon in last March. And so we are 7 studios, and we try to share project and make project together. We have also a school called Event Horizon that you can find in one of the side of the hall. So if Italian or foreign students want to learn making games, you can subscribe and you can follow the courses of the school. So why this talk? The goal of the talk is for Android developers that want to make games or already make games but want another way to make games. Who want to make games with Android? Okay. Who made a game using Android? Okay. Perfect. So, right place, right people. How? So, we show a different way to think, to design a video game, starting from our experience and the experience that you can have with Android. And the focus will be on design, okay? So, no line of code was armed to make this talk, okay? No line of code, no programming, no script, okay? You can have fun after that. Even me, I can have fun after that. But in this talk, we try to think about the first phase of designing a video game. Why, if you decide to start making games, you can think to Android? Because a mobile game is a cheap way to develop a mobile game, because maybe you can, the development time can range from 3 months to whatever you want time, but even with small time, you can make a game meaningful for the target that you want to join with your game. So the first step is having a good game is a good step, because sometimes people think about lot of stuff, lot of games, idea. Maybe if you have 50 idea, maybe only 3 or 4 can be saved. But sometimes this process is not followed by newbies, so people that can try to make a game, but it's normal, it's a normal path. The second one, after having the idea and developed it, is to have people that know that your game is very good. Because you have a lot of titles in the history of video games that were released, but sold 0 copies. In fact, developing a game is hard stuff. It's very hard process. And do you recognize this kind of monster? Which game is? Okay, more or less. Dark Souls can be more or less okay. It's not. If I'm reading this enemy. It's Bloodborne. Okay, the worst enemy in Bloodborne, the big boss. It's hard stuff. So this in the slide you can see 4 games that were good games, but in terms of commercial results, they failed. So in fact, Green Fandango has been released 2 years ago in a remastered version, but in 1997 was a total failure. And this Psychonauts, in this way, Beyond Good and Evil, okay, and Vanquish by Platinum Games. So, if you observe not only the titles, even the game studies and the people that made these games, the people are okay, the games are okay, but they failed in the commercial way. So, marketing is very important. You have to understand that, for instance, GTA 5, do you know GTA 5? Perfect. If you watch to Wikipedia, GTA 5, it's about 265 millions for development, and the figure is 265. 135 for the vertical development of Rockstar, and 125 was only for the marketing. So it's a very huge figure for the marketing. Not only push the buttons, okay, on a keyboard to make a great game. And when you start to make a game, my experience is you have a lot of choices to do, a lot of stuff to learn. When I started to make games in 2008, I came from a work experience in another context that lasted 7 years. And at my first day at work, I thought, okay, tomorrow I resign. Because I love the work, but I faced a lot of stuff to do. And after time, after years, you learn all this new stuff. But it's a huge number of choices that you have to do and to share with your colleagues and so on. And because sometimes the people that come to me to ask something about making games follow this scheme, more or less. Okay, guy, I have the idea of my life, okay? So with this idea, I will get money and money and money. I will become the new Scrooge of video games, okay? And, okay, after starving months to work to complete the game, I released my first big game, first mobile game, first digital game. Okay, but after 1 month, the release of the game, the scene is more or less this one. Okay, a person asks, was your game a success? Okay. No! Okay. Lot of time I observed this scene. Okay, so it's very important to have an idea that can get immediately the result. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you have success, but have the idea on the table. Okay, so let's start why it is important to try to think about a different way to make games. Definition of retro game is a game that starts 2 generations away of consoles. So for our time, retro game is about starting from PlayStation 2, Microsoft Xbox, and Nintendo GameCube, and before. Okay, so this is why maybe PlayStation Network started to sell games like The Warriors or Okagi or PlayStation Dual releases. Do you know the game The Warriors, I hope? Who played the game The Warriors? 1, 2? No. Okay. Tomorrow, if you have a PlayStation 4, please buy immediately the Rockstar game of The Warriors. Okay. This is the panorama of consoles that belong to the previous generations. So you have a lot of consoles. And why we need to watch with attention with to retro games. Okay, first, the controllers. Oh, it's not like the PlayStation 3 controller with some button added, but in the 80s, you only with 1 button and 1 stick, digital stick, so 4 direction, maximum 8 direction, you can play the game. And this is very important because your phone can be a very smartphone with a joypad, okay, paying only about $25 for this Bluetooth joypad that is more similar to a Xbox 360 joypad. But for normal people, you have only the screen and some button that you can put on the screen and something like that. So less button you have, less chance you have to translate and to put the retro game on your smartphone. We focused on playability. Okay, so using less memory and different schemas, you can offer various gaming experience. So, for instance, this is the game Venture. Okay, the goal of the player was to, with this character, get the treasure and go out of the room. Different monsters come to beat the player. And a game of nowadays reminds this sort of game. Do you remember? The Binding of Isaac. Perfect. Okay. More or less the schema is the same. And the Binding of Isaac took the procedural idea of making levels. So each time I start a game is a new game, is a new map. Okay, only changing the seed of the game. And this is shown that each level contains 4 different mini games, and it's very curious because the device, the cloche given by the cabinet contributes to have a very Tron experience. Or maybe Lords of Midnight, changing the genre, okay, because the previous game are more or less arcade games. Lords of Midnight by Mike Singleton put 4,000 locations and a story in this location in a ZX Spectrum that had only 48 kilobytes of memory. Like same stuff of the Commodore 64 that had 64 kilobytes, but only 39 were available for the user. So all are examples of different genres. Even in the 16-bit era, the same programmer, Mike Singleton, made this game Midwinter 2 and Midwinter 2 with the same idea. So procedural way to create the worlds and to put extended worlds in a few bytes of memory, and making different stories, mission, to build some sort of huge game. But on average, the games during the 80-bit era and 60, not only the 80-bit era and arcade, were short. Okay, so I play sometimes with my mobile phone when I take the bus or when I am on the train and something like that. So I need a short experience, or experience that I can stop and play every time I want. Because sometimes if the train trip ended, I need to save and something like that. So games like Impossible Mission or another hidden gem, maybe unknown for the majority of people. Who knows this game? Nothing. Okay, it was the first game guided by icons. Okay, made for 80-bit computers like Commodore 64, Spectrum, Amstrad, and something like that. The mission lasts 1 hour. So you command, you are this group of people, even bots, okay, and you have to save your General Crixis that has been kidnapped by the big evil Zoff. And in using the icons and the objects, you have to get get Crixis and escape from the ship. So it was a sort of milestone for Commodore 64 because for the first time a completely icon-driven game was released. It was in the hand of the players. But not only pros for games of the past, even some very hardware limitation, because the Atari VCS 2016 600. If you read this specification, they seem very small. Okay, a usual photo of our smartphone cover a lot, a completely full ROM full room of Atari 2600. So these are the limitations in this way. Can be beaten by our smartphone. And even the loading time. Because when I was young, I tried to load, for instance, Ghostbuster for Commodore 64, and I sleep because I was waiting for the loading for tape. And but not only in the 8-bit eras I have to wait, because even in PlayStation Portable era I have to wait. This was a very bad stuff because it was the first game released for PlayStation Portable at day one, and all people complain that to start the game you have to wait up to 6 minutes. So it was very stupid having a portable device and each time waiting for 6 minutes before starting something to interact with the game. Or maybe my love, because I love simulation, okay? Like Championship Manager, you have to wait 1 hour and 30 minutes before starting a new season. In fact, I got this, I have to say, because I have to confess, I got this game copied in a copied way, and the first 2 or 3 times that I tried the game, I thought, okay, it's broken, maybe doesn't work, my copy is stupid, so I have to delete it. And one time I tried and wait, and suddenly the game started, and so I played. Okay, so why in the challenge of Apple devices, Android devices, Android wins in this case? Because, okay, Android has, so this is the specification of my device, Nexus 5, it's old, it's not so, in my opinion, it's good. I hope that LG improve this device because the schema of architecture is very good. But, so you have the RAM, you have not the UMD like a PlayStation Portable that it takes a long time to load and something like that. You have an access direct of the memory, so you read, and more or less the loading time are very small. You have the sensor, accelerometer, gyro, proximity, and something like that. So you can use that sensor to your gameplay and other stuff. But the key aspect is that you have the freedom, okay? Like the soldiers of Helldivers say a lot. Helldivers is a wonderful game, local or network multiplayer. Everybody who played Helldivers? No, few people. Yes, I know. We need to play together. Yeah, I know. But the freedom given by Android is that you can put an emulators of different platforms on Android. So NES, Super Nintendo, GBA, Game Boy Advance, and so on, and try your game in your mobile device. This stuff can't be done on iOS because iOS doesn't give this freedom. Maybe if you jailbreak, but it's not a good stuff. Okay, so retro games plus an Android phone is the perfect recipe to try to develop your new game. Can be. And other people tried this kind of recipe. So people, the Brazilian people of Horizon Chase, okay, they tried to reproduce in a different graphical way the game Outrun, okay, and people from Dotemu Studios that released Another World, 20th anniversary, etc., applying or the original graphics or the HD graphic and something like that, and mapping the commands, so the direction and the button, directly on the game. And March 30, Timberwood Park has been released. Who knows this adventure? Yeah. So, Timberwood Park is the last graphical adventure by Ron Gilbert. So, the creator of Maniac Mansion, Secret of Monkey Island, and something like that. And they had, I suppose, 2 years ago, the idea to start a new adventure, dressing this new video game with the modern and old style. So this is the result. In fact, for the mobile version has not been released yet, maybe next month, but it's very nice because the schema change the mouse with the touch, so it's more comfortable to play the game, especially I suppose on tablet, because you can do this in the same way with your SCUM VM, so the script utility for Maniac Mansion virtual machine that emulates Maniac Mansion, Zack McCracken, all the stuff of Lucasfilm games. So if you want to have more or less a forecast experience, you can try SCUM VM for your Android phone. Mixing with the new stuff of nowadays for video games like achievement and something like that. But we have a first try that you can play. I invite you to play the game that I'm going to describe to our table in the hall after the talk, okay? Because the time is is strict, so we can play with calm and relax at your desk, at our desk. Sorry. So the game is WarioWare Twist. Okay, the game is a very special game because it was a video game for Game Boy Advance. And the cartridge comes with a sensor, gyroscope accelerometer, and you play a lot of mini game in WarioWare style, because this is the second episode or the third episode, I don't remember, for Game Boy Advance. Only tilting, moving the console. Why? This is the result, okay? So different screenshot, okay, of the game, the mini games. These screenshots are taken from Amazon, okay? It's very strange, and each screenshot is different mini games that you play fast during a normal game, okay? This is a sequence of different mini games, and here you can see the score, the record for each game. That each time you play the same mini game, the game is slightly difficult and something like that. If you have played Frostbite Says or something like that, is a game for PlayStation Vita. No, nothing. Okay. This title of PlayStation Vita reminds to WarioWare and WarioWare Twisted. But one fact is missing. So this game didn't come to Europe. Why? Because the sensor contained mercury. So starting from a law in Europe, but that is not a law in US and in Japan and something like that, the game didn't come here. So the unique way to play this game, or instead of finding the game in a super ultra hard way on eBay or something like that, is to get a special emulator called My Boy that maps the sensors with the hardware contained in the cartridge. So, maybe for the first time, Android, in this case, is the only device that can emulate this sort of stuff in the good way, because you can emulate even games on PC or even on your console, because if you have a PlayStation Portable modified, you can put all the emulators into this device, but the experience won't be the same. And so, in this case, Android is the king. So, rules not to survive to Zombieland, but to survive to Android game development, starting from the retro game. So, at first, test this game on your Android emulators in order to have knowledge of your past, see how the game works on a small device. Does the game make sense in a small device, or the sprites are so little, so it makes sense to only play the game on television or something like that? Yes or not? Rule number 2, evaluate them. So, fun, weaknesses, or pros, marketing, maybe another people came with same idea maybe last year or something like that. So, if I have to remake or make another game, which kind of inputs visual I have to rework or I have to add, or maybe which will be a new game that I can design, starting from the games that I tried and I saw. And then, does it make a sense? Use all sensor, one sensor, I don't know. Especially starting from I suppose, the Nintendo DS. You can find games on Nintendo DS that use the pen of and the touchscreen of Nintendo DS, but maybe it's a problem and it's not a feature. Okay, so pay attention when you try to add some new game input on that. And all the experience makes sense or not. And after that, how can imagine my project life making a business plan for the next month? So maybe I want to map one-on-one the content of the old game, or I have to start new levels, or I want to add some new content different from levels and something like that. And then, after I have all the idea on my table, I can start the design, the development. So, this is a result that we made as a mixed bag for a way to design a new game, and our new game called Forma 8. This is the trailer, and then Okay, the trailer for a PlayStation version.
Peggy 7.
Okay. Any old game that reminds you Forma 8? Yeah, let's got it. One. Okay. Other? Any other game that reminds you Forma 8? Okay, by Riccardo Minervino. Okay, but oldest, please go to the past. Go. Okay. Badlands, yeah, more or less the same style, but different game. Okay. Super Meat, yeah, because it's tough, so it's very hard to beat even our Forma 8. Okay. Forma 8 has been released for a lot of platforms, and starting from May will be released on Android and iOS. Maybe we start with iOS and then on Android, but please wait a couple of months to play Forma 8 on Android. So as it has been received well. Like for critics, because on Metacritic it has 80 out of 10 for PlayStation 4 and 82 out of 10 for Xbox One. So it's a huge success. Maybe it is my best performance on Metacritic. And how we work on Forma 8 starting from the principle that I showed previously. So, this is the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is a summary, few lines in order to describe all the features of the game. So, a story of loneliness. It's a little bit story. The story behind Forma 8, it's a little bit sad. When another world, the style of graphics, meets Android. Okay, so the style of game. So go straight and back and forward on the world. It's in a sort of open world environment, and with super satisfying anti-gravity analog controls. I fell in love with Forma 8 playing it in 2013 before going to Mixed Bag, when I played on a tablet. I felt the controls. I fell in love with the controls. So it was maybe the main feature that you can remember after you play the game. The inspiration, so another word for the style, Castlevania and Metroid for the style of play. In fact, the genre is Metroidvania, Metroid plus Castlevania. The art uses different layers in order to give some sort of depth, even if it's a 2D game. In fact, like the style of Another World, here all the black characters are the main characters of the game. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sure. But maybe the idea came before, because it was the idea started from, I suppose, 2011, but the original games were Metroid, Castlevania, and Another World. And then even Insanely Twisted Planet got the same idea, it's the same style, I suppose. The roots are the same. Okay. And for the controls, it's a very curious stuff, because you have the left part of the tablet or the screen that is a sort of joystick analog control, and the second part when you can use the different buttons for power-ups. But you can't have any other device, any other type of second analog control that you can find in the normal joypads. So in this video, we will see how we try to beat the problem the problem of not having any kind of other device to target with the power, observing the power up of bombs.
We're gonna kill all these guys with a bomb.
Okay,
Oh shit, we
the
shot
person
our bomb.
got the bomb, but is not able to use it in the perfect way.
Hell yes.
He started to learning.
This is
Okay.
amazing.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We're gonna kill all these guys with a bomb.
As you can see,
Oh, shit.
the bomb,
We shot our bomb.
you can put the bomb, and using the first power up, the shield, you can shoot the bomb in another direction. Okay, but how can
yes.
how can use to suggest to the player which direction can be
This is
taken by the
amazing.
bomb?
Oh,
Because
boy, what you got for me?
it was very hard for the player. So we used this stuff.
I got something for you.
As you can see,
Shit.
the bomb creates some spark, and
I
so
can do that.
the
I
spark
can do it
created
right.
by the bomb is
Boom.
helps the player to aim in the right direction. So no use of second analog to target the destination of the bomb. Only with the help of graphics. Okay? Understood? It's so clear? Perfect. And so, even the overall experience for the mobile version has been and is modifying. So, it needs to be tough but immediate. So, not the frustration of ribbon of Resident Evil. Okay, do you remember Resident Evil for PlayStation 1? Okay, if I have ribbon, I can save. If not, too bad. Okay, we need to tune the overall level of difficulty because the phones, the mobile phone player are casual. So we are going to tune and the game will be easier than the console version. And now we are evaluating even other control types like the joystick and not the swipe to modulate the anti-gravity controls. All clear? This is an example made from our last game. So, for people that want to try and to discover this way and the way of making games, a little bit of homework. So, 2 books about the history of games. Another 2 books in order to understand what game design is and the entire process of making games. And 2 other books about theory. So, the theory of failure. Why, if I fail in the game, I have fun. Okay? Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Dochet, even Salt and Sanctuary, Super Meat Boy. A lot of games of nowadays are getting this philosophy. And then the theory of fun. So, which are the ways to have fun during games, which is the psychology of fun. Interesting websites, so Dot Eaters, Retro Gaming History, Retro Gamer. Doesn't matter about, you can pick photos, but I did a PDF and you can get all the stuff, getting this file from from a Google Drive link. Game engine to develop games, RenPy for visual noveling, Construct 2 for simple games, Game Maker and Unity. I study the target of my game and the complexity of my game, then I choose the right engine, okay? This is the philosophy. Then, dev resources. So, resources for a global game jam. It's a document, nice document that you can get, and you have a list of different assets, programs that you help to make games. And this is the presentation, the homework file for presentation. So, if you are interested, take a picture of this link. It's a public link. You can get the file and have fun. Okay? Okay, this is the slide in order to don't go in jail or to not to be fined. And I invite you to a workshop, 2 days of workshop on gamification and a played game. That will hold by me, it seems, May 2006-2007, so we can see together in Milan. So subscribe it, we can have fun for 2 days. And thank you very much. This is a picture for a bet made with some speakers, for some Android speakers, because they didn't know, they won't believe that I had long hair when I was young, okay, and thin, okay? So this is my mail, and thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.